Well, if everybody is here that's going to be here, we'll get started 2 minutes early. So it is Tuesday, January 7th, 2025. It is 5:58 p.m. I call this City of Montgomery, Texas Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order. First order of business, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak, comment, or anything other than what's in the agendas on the package? Anybody?
No, sir, no submittals.
Okay. Then we will move on to item number 2, consideration and possible action on the regular meeting minutes of December 3, 2024.
I've read the minutes and I make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of December 3rd, 2024.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Ayes have it.
Can you confirm who
Motion
seconded?
passed.
I do.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Here,
Off to the races.
here, you want this one?
No, that's all right. I'll go right here. It's done. Item number 2, consideration and possible action on the unapproved demolition of a structure located at 900 Caroline Street in the Historical Preservation District.
Good evening, Corinne Tilly, City of Montgomery Code Enforcement and Planning and Zoning Administrator. What we have before you for discussion is a property at 900 Caroline Street. It's located in the Residential Zoning District and Historic Preservation District. According to the Montgomery County Appraisal District records, in 2005, the residential structure was constructed with a total gross building area of 988 square feet. This includes a main area of 442 square feet and an attached brick garage of 546 square feet. In February of 2008, the Historic Preservation District was established in the City of Montgomery. In December of 2024, the structure was demolished without Planning and Zoning Commission approval, and my staff report is attached. If you have any questions, I can answer them. And I believe the property owner is here if you have questions for her.
What is our code enforcement action that could possibly be considered tonight?
The code enforcement action would refer to the Planning and Zoning Commission because you have the authority to establish what penalties, if any penalties, would be assessed on this property.
Okay.
Do we have any range?
I don't feel, I am not a city official. I don't feel I have the authority to levy and assess fines.
Yeah.
If there is a code violated, that's the city obligation or authority to assess a fine,
Right.
not me. I will turn the gavel over to someone else if you're going to say we have to make that decision.
Yes. If you look at the section where I refer to the penalties,
I understand that,
okay,
but it also, it's a city official that makes these or you saw the code violation. The city enforces the code violations, correct?
correct.
Us up here, we do not enforce or levy fines on code enforcement.
And we've also asked in the past for a list of what actions we can take. And I've even spoken before the city council and asked for what we can and cannot do when we are trying to enforce, say, an ordinance violation. I agree with Bill. I do not know enough about the ordinance actions that I can make a call on this. Like, not financially, not effectively.
Yeah, that's not our position to enforce financial.
Are there fines for demolition?
There are penalties that would be able to be assessed when a demolition occurs without approval.
Where are those penalties written down? Because we've never. Okay, I see that, but
Isn't your title code enforcement officer?
That's correct, sir.
Well, it seems to me by your title and your duties and responsibilities, you would enforce.
Right, and that's what I'm enforcing here and bringing it to the planning commission to be able to make that decision. Because it is in the historic preservation district and the planning commission is the guiding factor in the historic preservation district. It is a violation and I'm bringing it forward to you to see that it's a violation. And then you can let me know if these are the penalties that you would assess.
We don't
We don't
assess
have- We
penalties.
don't assess penalties.
We make decisions, we approve or disapprove, okay, demolition, what a structure will look like in the historical preservation district, signs in the historical preservation district, but we are not a levy. I don't feel I have the authority to levy fines. We can make guidelines that are on here. We can help with ordinances. And if someone comes to us and wants a sign permit, that's fine. But if there is an out of order sign, I cannot say, well, I'm going to fine you $500.
I don't think she's asking you guys to levy a fine. I think she's telling you that there are some provisions in there for penalties.
There are
Now,
guiding
now,
principles.
so it's not your job you're right, to levy those fines.
Right.
So if you guys say you approve that demolition, then it is what it is. It's done.
oh, you're going to bring to, okay, we need to decide, okay.
Yeah.
Can we talk to the owner?
Sure, absolutely.
Real quick,
Wait.
just if we say we disapprove the demolition, I don't necessarily see that. Whose responsibility then is it to levy?
It's going to be her responsibility from there
Okay.
to levy.
Thank you.
And her herself could say she's not, the minimum fine that's on there.
Okay.
So she can do that.
I have one question.
Yeah, because when you listen to the owner, Mr. Chief, because he did the demolition. We don't know for what reason he did that. If that's something you guys say, okay, that was fine, then we're there with that.
In other words, he's here to ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Yes.
And a lot of times, on the planning and zoning, we experience that 90% of the time.
Absolutely. Mr. Fox?
Yes, you're quoting these codes. Have these codes all now been codified?
The codes that we have in here are the codes that the city has codified.
They are have been codified.
Yeah.
Okay.
That clears up one thing. My question is, how did you get involved in this one demolition? Because we've been trying to get buildings demolished for 15 years. Those buildings out along the 16400 block of 149 North, and no movement in 15 years. And bingo, this one jumps up like it came out by a bolt of lightning. It just is amazing to me. We talk about the historical district. It's been changed, altered, moved, talked about, rehashed. We've had 2-3 different groups look at where the boundary lines are. And there's so much confusion about it. I think this gentleman has already taken down one building because someone from the city hall told him he could take it down. And then later he's accused of taking something down he didn't have permission for. And now here he is back with the same problem.
And that's been the inconsistency, because I know that at some point, they were talking about the buildings, some of the houses there on 149.
Yep.
That needed to come down. That was brought forward, but it was never taken care of. And so sure, when you look at something like this where Mr. Cheatham took this building down, so, but Tilly happens to ride around. Matter of fact, she put in the work needed to say, okay, these houses here need to be taken down. And just nothing ever happened with that. It just never went anywhere. So when she was riding around, she seen this demolition here. That's why she brought it to her attention, because that's for her to do. And we'll take a look at we'll go back and take a look at the other places that need to be demonstrated.
No, I appreciate what you're doing.
Yes,
going
yeah,
out and
very
checking
much.
it. No, you know, nothing against you on what you're doing your job.
We're not
It's
trying to
just,
shoot the messenger.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's just, you know, where our responsibilities lie up here.
There's the other buildings that the city has deemed should be torn down. I would expect that the owners of those buildings have been notified that they should be torn down?
When you said deemed torn down, I think what it was when that happened, and I heard this a year or so ago, maybe longer than that, is they were talking about some buildings that possibly should come down. They were mentioned to the city officials at that time, and just nothing ever happened.
Okay,
So,
so
yeah, the owners would be notified
And I think what I understand on those too, there's no deeds to some of those homes, so
Yes.
nobody know who the owners are.
That was part of the situation.
yeah.
Some of those homes, there were no deeds, there was owners and said, well, no, I don't own that property there, that's not my property.
Right.
So are any of these buildings in violation of any of the city codes?
Tilly?
Yes. The key is that we have in our ordinance, the Building and Standards Commission. We need to have the Building and Standards Commission brought up because they would follow the procedures that are laid out in the ordinance on how and who would do the inspections. So you would have to involve, now we have a building official, so the building official would be involved, a fire inspector would be involved, possibly a county environmental health inspector would be involved, myself would also be there. And as a group, we make a recommendation to the city council. And then the city council then knows what the notification process is and all the steps that are required, because you can't just demo the building. There's a waiting period, that notification period, everything that has to go through in order to even demolish building. So if you're looking at creating a vacant buildings list, or maybe even a dangerous structure list, that Building and Standards Commission would be able to put that together and have that in front of the city council to make those decisions.
That'll be the first time that's been organized in that way.
Yes.
And bless you, hurry and get it done, please.
Excuse me, we have to get back on task.
Yes.
I'm warned by the city secretary.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, let's get back to
Okay.
item 2.
Yeah, well, we need some of this information to vote on that, okay? Mr. Cheatham in his email has stated that adjacent buildings are also in disrepair and everything. Have you cited those along with some of the others?
Myself,
Yeah.
as the code enforcement officer, cannot just cite them because it doesn't look good outside. So you have the building official who is more, I guess, has the structural certifications to be able to even go inside, take a look at the condition of the structure. I can look at it and say that it doesn't look good, but there really isn't a nuisance violation for something that doesn't look good or looks unkept. We don't have anything in the ordinance for a fence that is in disrepair. I don't see anything in the ordinance about paint chipping. We could try and pull something from the Historic Preservation District and say that there's paint chipping. You'll see in the regulations that I provided to you, there's a section in the code that talks about demolition by negligence. But those buildings that are in disrepair have not been demolished. It's just not being well, I guess, taken care of, being well preserved. We can try and push towards that section of the ordinance. But again, without maybe city attorney guidance in interpreting what that code says, I think it would be a stretch to try and say you're in the historic district and you haven't painted properly.
Okay, another question. Have you had the opportunity to speak with the company that's doing the grand scheme of ordinances and zoning and everything? Have you spoken to them about enforcement?
Not yet.
You haven't been given the opportunity to?
I have not had the opportunity.
Chief, I think you need to intercede and get her to speak to the contractor that's developing this zoning and everything. If she's not involved, then everything we're going forward with is for naught.
The company that we've got doing the ordinance, we're working closely with them now but we haven't worked on any specific ordinances. We're looking at how to establish those ordinances across the city. This will be one of the ones that will come into play like 100 others. But we're in contact, we had a meeting with them maybe last month. So yeah, we'll be getting to that.
I haven't actually talked to
At the end,
them.
at the end of the month, there's one.
Yeah.
Yes. This month, yes.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
okay. Chris, would you like to speak?
I guess I'm here to ask for forgiveness. Of course, I put in an email. And I was on the committee that did that many years ago, the historical district, which I'm very much in favor of. My mistake was that building was, as she said, about 19 years old. It was Mom and Dad's garage, but they never were able to build a home there. So it was becoming an eyesore and poor condition. And I have to be honest, frankly, keeping in mind our property taxes that we pay every year, the county, all the taxing authorities it's getting pretty tough to pay the taxes. So that was an improvement, if you want to call it that. It was being taxed at a rate that we didn't feel like was right. So, but yeah, the neighbor, Mr. Love, I believe, came over and thanked me for taking the building down. It had become an eyesore. And so, 100% my mistake.
You were aware that you're in the historic district,
I
though?
was aware of that, yes, ma'am.
Did you ever receive a letter after you built it, or your parents, that said you're in the historic district now and these?
It wasn't a historical district.
No, before. When you built it, it wasn't. And then when it became, and we had a historical district, and we had a group, a commission, were you ever advised that way?
No,
Have you ever been advised from the historic district or the city?
No, ma'am.
Hey, okay, you just know because you've been here a long time.
Right.
Okay.
And that's a very good point. When I was on that committee, Brian Fowler was our city attorney at that time. And once, my background is oil and gas and real estate, and so property records are something I'm familiar with. So I asked Brian, the city attorney at that time, I said, what are we going to do to notify property owners within the historical district that their property lies within a historical area that could impact what they do with their property? So an unsuspecting owner could come in and start making, because it's not going to show up in your title when you close the property. There's nothing on public record that says any property within the historical district is within that district. So just to give good public information, it would be good for people in the district to know that. And that's not really available. So that could be a problem. But I can't use that excuse. I knew it was in the historical district.
We have talked about this before too, making aware. We've had at least 2 people that have come and asked for forgiveness instead of permission. And again, they all said, yeah, we knew we were in the historical district. And sometimes there's a confusion of, is it a historical piece of property? Is it a historical building? Is it a historical site? I think that all gets lost in the vision of there is a historic district. Doesn't mean that the actual building or the actual slab or the actual tree is quote unquote historical in some way. So that needs to be clarified, and there needs to be something reached. We need to reach out to those persons that are in the historical district, send them a map, say, hey, look, it's 2025. Tilly is driving, she's driving around, and she's going to say whether you're in ordinance or not in ordinance. And I'm appreciative. Like Mr. Cheatham just happens to be Happy New Year 2025. You know, I mean, you are not alone. There has been stuff done downtown, and I'm the first one that says it. Are you here for forgiveness?
Yeah, yes,
So,
well, and I have demolished other structures in
Yes.
town that were not in the historical district, and I've always checked, almost every time, do I need a demolition permit? And I was always told that I did not need that. So that was part of my thinking, which again was probably a mistake.
Yeah.
So, there is a demolition permit, correct?
There's a building permit that you can write on there that what you're
Demolition,
doing.
and there's a cost
is
for that,
project.
and there's a cost for that, correct? Okay, all right. But there is no, like all the other ordinances we have in there, there's actually no written penalty for any other than the historical district.
The written penalty when it comes to
Can
a
you go to the
building
microphone?
permit.
Yeah, the section 98, 357,
Right, when it comes to a building permit,
right,
there are things like a double fee.
Right.
When someone starts a project before they get a permit or does something before they get a permit, there is the ability to do a double fee.
Right.
But that's through the building official
right.
and that building permit process.
Well, I'm just looking at these penalties here, and they're quite harsh. Did you help write these, Chris?
I did, I don't remember.
Man, you did yourself wrong. I mean, yeah, they're quite harsh. I mean, they're just not a little slap on the hand, so. That may be something we need to maybe look at. I don't know who I need to, or we have to wait till the city gets back reorganized, but that section 98-357, that's harsh.
Yeah, that's part of the ordinance that we're changing.
Yeah,
And as we come together to look at the fine and look at the penalties, those things
Yeah.
will change.
okay.
I don't think we can grant him forgiveness without him submitting a permit to demolish it. So my recommendation is that he submit a permit request to demolish the building, and at our next meeting, we take it up for action.
Why don't we just go ahead and
What are you
just,
going to prove?
huh?
What are you going to prove?
Well, I mean, we've done this before. If he comes in with his application and pays for the application, city secretary can say, okay, we're fine. I mean, we can say we approve it upon Chris coming in with the application and paying the fee. We shouldn't have to run this out another month, I don't feel. Do y'all?
No.
Okay.
I do have to say this, though, and I apologize, you're Mr. First of 2025. But, you know, we don't want to set a precedence, okay? But we don't want you be the first one that we're like, okay, 2025, we said we were going to do it, and we're here, and we're going to do it. Because there's more building, and there's more stuff coming in downtown Montgomery. I mean, there's one thing I seen last night. I was like, no permission, you just did it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be brought up, but not tonight, but.
It does happen.
Yes, so so whenever we decide to do, just understand that you just happen to be the first one of 2025, and we have been talking about this, I know, for at least 2 years. Don't ask for apologies, ask for permission. And it's not that it's a bad thing. You know, we tell lots of people, we're like, it looks great, you just didn't follow the process and the paperwork, and we would hate for anything. The thing about it is had you hit anybody, hit electrical line, hit a gas line, somebody at the park ran out on a ball, and the guy that was tearing it down, you know, that's what we have to think about. And that's all I'm gonna say about it, so.
So there is a building permit fee, but we don't have the city does not have a demolition permit per se. Okay, all right, all right. So if the person wanted to tear something down and they get on the city website, they're not going to find a demolition permit.
According to the building official, for 2025, he does have a set of permits that will be placed online, and I believe a demolition.
For demolition,
is one of
okay.
them.
Because that may be, not not so much with Chris, but, other people getting online looking for demolition permit, they don't see one, then automatically they think, well, I don't need one. So, okay, that's fine, okay. All right.
I make a motion that subject to the submission of the demolition request to the city secretary that we approve the demolition.
I second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second for the approval of the demolition upon
Submission of the,
submission of the permit plus the fee. Is that correct?
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Ayes have it, so that item number 2 is taken care of.
Okay,
All right?
thank you.
Thank you.
Next, commission inquiry. Do we have anything that needs to be brought
I
up?
think we covered all that one.
Huh?
So I think we covered all that.
We covered all that.
Can I say what I seen in town?
Yeah.
I know what you're gonna say right now. You wanna take bets?
The plastic?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a back.
Yep. Apology,
I
not
thought that was
permission.
addressed last year.
It was just for that year, just for that.
So,
Miss Tilly, thank you.
I'd like to thank Ms. Tilly and the chief for
yeah,
the time and effort to get this. I know it's a difficult time. You guys are new in some of the work you're doing, and that's well and good. Thank you for doing that.
yeah.
But you do need to catch up about those houses. Like I say, it's been 15 years, I know those. We've been trying to get rid of some of them.
Yeah, I do appreciate it. I know everybody's been on, we need enforcement, and it's the first thing you enforce, and then we jump on it. So, but no, I do appreciate it. It is needed in town. It really is.
And
It
it's
is.
interesting too, because, we try to get people to come here and everything. And like anything else in life, you judge a book by its cover. And that cover that we're demonstrating is not very pleasant.
Yeah, we're not the good news bears. So when we have the meeting at the end of the month for what they're doing for the grand plan for downtown Montgomery or the city of Montgomery, the things that we said tonight, will they be presented to that company to take into consideration?
We have a meeting with them, what's that, Friday? We have a meeting with, we spoke with them this morning, but we also have a meeting with them Friday. And these are some of the things that we'll be talking about anyway, because we're putting together a committee for the downtown areas. And we're also putting together a core committee, just for the whole thing.
So just to clarify, people that we spoke to this morning was Retail Strategies, hired by MEDC. And they're the ones that have a downtown strategic plan, and then they have the retail recruitment plan. And then there's also KKC, which is.
That's who,
Taste.
that's who we need to be involved with.
And that's the one that is doing the interim ordinances and all of that, and that we have not yet.
Now, those are the two groups that we'll be bringing together.
Right.
Because we have to have both of them in order to accomplish what we want to accomplish.
Okay.
So those groups will be bringing together.
And those groups are from volunteers or people you select or,
No, these two groups are actually companies. One,
oh, companies? You're not asking for volunteers to
Yeah.
make the, okay.
what we're talking about on the other list we were talking about, those are just members of the council,
Okay,
MEDC, and of the business owners here in the city.
okay.
To kind of make that, to kind of have a committee to kind of guide and lead them to what they want to have.
Okay.
Ms. Tilly, I would be awfully careful. I'm going to give you some experience of 30 years to listen to homeowners complain. When you go to try to figure out how to get someone to take care of their house and maintain it, and what they can build and how they can build it and all that, there's a lot into that. Main thing is their house is chipping, or they painted it the wrong color or whatever. Be careful. It's nothing but lawsuits. I got drug into one over in Walden a few years back over what they thought they could go out there and give somebody blow-by-blow instructions how to do it. You may not like your neighbor having beer cans in their yard, but there's really nothing you can do about it. So be careful.
I make a motion for adjournment.
I second.
Second.
I have a motion to adjourn January 7, 2025 meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All no, say no. Ayes have it. 6:29 meeting is adjourned.
2025, hello.
Hello. Oh, mercy.
Here, let's turn this off.
Oh, yeah.